The Dick Van Dyke Show. Starring Dick Van Dyke. Rosemary, Maury Amsterdam, Larry Matthews, and Mary Tyler Moore.
Hello, Dick Van Dyke Show friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KJ Ricardo. Today's episode is a look at my list of the top 10 episodes from Season 5 of The Dick Van Dyke Show. We're here at the last season of Dick Van Dyke. It's a little sad, but there were a lot of great episodes from this season, so let's get started. Number 10 is A Day in the Life of Alan Brady. This episode really features Alan Brady, played by Dick Van Dyke creator-producer Carl Reiner. He's being featured in a documentary basically showing a day in the life of Alan Brady. So he wants it to be filmed at Rob's house to make Alan look like he's very sociable. The party is supposed to be held when Millie and Jerry are having their anniversary party. Millie wants the party to be on the same day as the documentary film. And so everyone is at the Petrie's house for this party. Alan arrives and he wants this party to be perfect. He doesn't want anything to go wrong. And this is just a great episode featuring Alan Brady. Number 9 is The Man from My Uncle. This is another great episode. There is a situation across the street. One of the Petrie's neighbors seems to be involved in a crime, and so the police asked the Petries if they can have a stakeout at the Petrie's house. Of course, they say yes, but Rob is really involved. He's curious about how the stakeout, how it works, and so he's really involved in this, and this is just another great episode featuring Rob. Number 8 is No Rice at My Wedding. This is another flashback episode, so once again, Dick Van Dyke does a great job with flashbacks, and it talks about the time when Rob was in the military and he was going together with Laura, and he almost lost her to another man. There was a contest and she won a date with another soldier. And so they go on a date and Rob is jealous, of course, because it's a very attractive man that Laura is going off with. Eventually, Laura has to make up her mind if she should marry this other man or if she should marry Rob. And of course, we know what her answer is because of the rest of the show, but it's just another great flashback episode. Number 7 is Dear Sally Rogers. I love this episode because it features Sally. She is appearing on the Stevie Parsons show, and of course, like always, Sally is so great. She's very comical, and she decides to advertise herself for a man, and Stevie Parsons goes along with that and says, send your letters to Sally Rogers, and that's what she gets. She gets a ton of letters from available bachelors saying, hey, I'll marry you. And she receives one in particular from a guy that she thinks could be the one. And so they set it up for the Stevie Parsons show to have this man come on. And who is it? It's Herman Glimcher, Sally's boyfriend on the show. And it's actually a really sweet episode. I like it a lot. Number 6 is Unius. I like this episode a lot. It's a science fiction episode, but it's done really well. Everyone is at the office really late, especially Rob, and he starts hearing these noises sounding like a UFO. So he looks out the window and he believes that he saw a UFO. Sally and Buddy come back into the office. They didn't see it, so of course no one believes Rob. Rob begins to wonder if he actually made it up in his mind, so he sees a psychiatrist, but he's convinced that it was actually a UFO. The next night, Buddy's in the office and he hears the noise too. He sees the UFO. So they go out into the hallways of the office, and eventually they run into this man who explains that it is a UFO, but it's a toy UFO that they're testing out for next Christmas. It's pretty great. Number 5 is The Curse of the Petrie People. This is another great episode. Rob's parents come to visit, and they decide that it's time to give Laura this Petrie pin that will stick to her clothes. She has to wear it all the time. It's the shape of America, and each dot on America is the place where a Petrie boy in the family was born. Laura doesn't like it at all, and she accidentally gets it into the sink, and it goes down the garbage disposal. So it's destroyed. Of course, she feels terrible about this, so she tries to fix it, even goes to a jeweler. He fixes it. And eventually we find out at the end of the episode that even Rob's mom didn't like the pen, and she really appreciates that Laura went to all that effort for her. Number 4 is the last chapter. This is the very last episode of Dick Van Dyke, so I have to include it. Rob comes home and he finished his manuscript. We heard about his book earlier in this series. He finally finished his memoir. And so Laura sits down to read it, and basically the rest of the episode is a clip show where we get really famous, hilarious episodes like when Rob and Laura got married. We get to see those funny scenes again. When Richie is born the night before, this great episode, and then That's My Boy, which is an iconic episode of Dick Van Dyke. And then everybody comes together at the very end. Everyone, the whole cast is together for this last scene, and they make it seem that the entire show we just watched, Dick Van Dyke, is going to be made into a TV show that Alan Brady is going to produce. So it's kind of like the circle of life where the show we just watched is going to become a real show for Dick Van Dyke, for Robert Petrie, and it's a really great way to end the show.
Hey, hi! Hi, Jer.
Laura, how are you, Jer?
How are you?
Alan,
Hi, son.
I'm nearly ready for dinner, Rob.
Are you ready for a little bit of good news?
Yeah, I think
I heard
so.
from the publisher today.
Yeah?
He hates it, boy. It's going to remind him of about 50 other books.
He's kidding. No, that's what they said.
That's right. One editor said it stunk.
Well, why is everyone so happy?
Because Alan read it and he loved it.
What do I know from style?
Honey, Alan wants to produce it as a television series.
Your book's going to be a television series?
It's true. Of course, I won't do it till after my series is defunct, which may never be.
Alan is going to play me.
Yeah, and the three of us are going to write it, and Leonard Burshot is going to produce it.
That's right.
Wait, hold it a second. Honey, what do you think?
Oh, gosh, I don't know what to say. Alan's really going to play you?
And Rob won't have to shave his head. I'll wear a toupee.
That's terrific.
Yeah. Who's going to play me?
Oh, great comedian.
Who?
Martha Diller.
Yeah.
Martha Diller? With the...
With my idea.
Really? Is that definite, Rob?
Yeah, yes.
Hey, who's going to play me?
Your part will be cartoon. Oh, my gosh.
What's the matter?
Well, I was just thinking, Laura's so pretty, and if Martha Diller is going to play her, who's going to play me?
Oh, come
Number 3 is Long Night's Journey into Day. I personally really love this episode, and I think it features a lot of characters very well. Rob and Jerry are away camping, and Laura is home alone by herself. This episode is very relatable because Laura hears all kinds of noises, and that's so true. When you're home alone by yourself, especially at night, you hear every noise possible. And so this is a great episode. She becomes very paranoid, and then Millie comes in and sneaks in, kind of scares Laura a little bit, but they're together and they hear noises. So this is a great episode featuring Millie and Laura. They stay up all night and they have the TV, radio on, everything, and they're scared together. They think someone's in the house, and I just really love this episode because it's relatable, but also it features Laura, Mary Tyler Moore, and Millie really well. Number 2 is Obnoxious, Offensive, Egomaniac, etc. This is a great episode, and I'll be featuring it later on as well. Everyone's getting ready to go to a theater when they realize that they left some pretty bad things about Alan in the script, and it was already sent on for Alan to read. So they're on a wild goose chase to find this script. They go throughout the office, try to sneak into Alan Brady's office. It involves Dick Van Dyke, Rob, to use his physical comedy really well in this episode. They eventually get into the office and the script's not there. It's been sent to Alan's house. So the last scene involves everyone at Alan's house, and it's just a great episode featuring the writing staff. So I'll be featuring this episode later on next week, but I just really love it. But my number 1 pick is Coast to Coast Big Mouth. This is one of the best episodes of the Dick Van Dyke Show. Laura is appearing on a game show, and she accidentally reveals that Alan Brady wears a toupee, that he's bald. So she goes in to apologize to Alan, and we get a great scene. It's one of the best scenes in television sitcom history. Alan, played by Carl Reiner, is fantastic in this episode. It's his best performance out of the Dick Van Dyke Show. And then Mary Tyler Moore is phenomenal in this episode. It's just so iconic and very hilarious. So sit back and enjoy this scene, and most importantly, laugh along.
No, don't say anything. Let me look at you. Fellas? There she is.
There's the little lady who put you out of business. Your husband's gonna let you take the rap all by yourself, huh?
Oh, no, Alan, if Rob knew that I was here, he'd kill me.
Good, I'll call him.
No, Alan, please. Rob, as you know, Alan, you see, well,
What?
how's your foot?
How does it look? Laura, what the heck are you doing here? If you like to see ruins, why don't you go to Greece?
Alan, you're not ruined, really.
First my leg, then my hair. What are you after, my liver?
Well, Alan, I came to apologize and to tell you personally that I'd like to try to explain.
Explain what? You got a big mouth.
I do, I know, Alan.
If you wanted a free rotisserie or a dryer, I would have gotten it for you. I would have gotten your house, a show place.
Oh, Alan, you don't have to do that. Alan, could I say something?
You got more to say?
Well, I've been thinking, Alan, and, well, for instance, I think you look very nice without your,
Hair?
Oh. Well, yes, and, well, for instance, now, I'm not saying this just because I'm in trouble, Alan, although goodness knows I am.
Oh, yes.
But believe me, sincerely, Alan, really sincerely, and you can ask anybody, I have always said that I like you so much better without your,
It's hair! You didn't have any trouble saying it on television.
Alan, I really like your hair. Not on. Without it.
This is so. Why didn't you tell me this in private?
Well, I just didn't feel it was my place.
No, your place is on network television.
Alan, it was an accident.
An accident. So was Custer's last stand.
You want a scalp to hang on your belt? Here, huh? This is a cute one. I had this one made so people will say, Alan is losing his hair. Would you like that one? Or would you like a crew cut one that I had made for the summer? Oh, this one, Mike. Alan, you need a haircut. Huh? Would you like these? What do you suggest I do with all of these now, huh?
Well, there must be some needy bald people.
And that's it. That's all I have for you this week. Season 5 is a great season. It has a lot of hilarious episodes. The Dick Van Dyke Show definitely ended on a high note. It ended at the point that it really needed to. And so let me know what your favorite episode is from this last season, and I'll be happy to read that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember to always laugh often.